me back a little bit. I'm not just talking about kids who listen to the radio, right? Because the radio plays the same 25 songs over and over again. So we all know if we get in our car at 8 a.m., 3 a.m., 5, and 11, the same song is on. I'm not talking about that hip hop. I am talking about the hip hop that is ingenious. I am talking about the students with no formal musical training, no computer programming, and they make unbelievable music. I am talking about the kids who will find the latest song from somebody that is so underground and make it the best thing since sliced bread. I am talking about the kids whose movements today will become mainstream tomorrow. Those are the kids who identify with hip hop. They live it, they breathe it. This is how they see the world. And if that is true, and if they see the world through hip hop, that means they have hip hop sensibilities. And I want to argue today that those hip hop sensibilities are directly linked to character strengths. So I like to call them cultural strengths. So let's start with the first one, social and emotional intelligence. If you ever gone to a hip hop cipher, you have kids all in a circle, and they could be freestyle rapping, they could be battling, they could be dancing. And when do they know when to go? Nobody raises their hand, it's my turn to rap. Nobody does that. Nobody says, can I dance next? How do these kids know when to go? And then you could have rappers or dancers who don't know each other. And they just know when to go. They know who is next. How do they know that? That is social and emotional intelligence. And then you have to listen. You can't just go into the rap and you're whack. Or you can't go into the rap and repeat what the last person said. It'd not be better and a better iteration of what they just said. So you have to listen. This is drawing on social and emotional intelligence. Or traditional schools, the morning meetings. We have kids in a circle, and we say to a child, what did you do last night? Before you even say, what did, all the hands go up. And you're saying, I didn't ask you a question yet. So all the hands are up, and the kids, just can't wait to be next. And then you call on them, and they forget. And then they look at you like you gave them a hard question. They're not listening. They're not invested in that activity. So we call that social emotional learning. That is not social emotional learning. A cipher is social and emotional learning. I am feeding off you. I am listening to you. I am engaging with you, and then I go. Let's take the next, grit. That's funny. Grit? You want to talk about grit? Hip hop is grit. African and African American genius, resiliency, resolve, that is grit. I am standing here today because people were gritty, that I could be here. So when you want to talk about grit, you cannot talk about grit without talking about African and African Americans and hip hop. Think about what hip hop is 40 years ago. You have people who we have Reaganomics, post-industrial New York, and they take something and make a cultural phenomenon that has lasted the last 40 years and become a billion-dollar global industry. I think that's grit. Let's take the last one. Let's take social and emotional intelligence. Now let's move to the notion to improv. So in 2012, the Institute for Deafness and Other Communication Disorders, they hooked up 12 freestyle rappers. And freestyle is the ability to just spontaneously create rhymes in real time. So they hooked these rappers up and they wanted to understand their brain activity. And what they found was amazing. These freestyle rappers' prefrontal cortex was moving at amazing speeds. And what is your prefrontal cortex? It's where emotion, motivation, and language is developed. So when you want to talk about the ability to be creative, the crux of that is the ability to improv, to come up with real thoughts just like this. That's hip hop. And so we have kids sitting in classrooms every single day with the ability to do this. And because we don't identify with hip hop, we don't like hip hop has been co-opted and commercialized as something that's so watered down now, and the rich and robust history of hip hop is lost that we say, that's not academic. But you think about the root of it. We